Here we are doing the usual. This is my view this morning. I'm Kuda from Taniwa Agro. This little patch of land that we've got, we're just working on it. Our tractor is marking out takatakura bed maker chedu, our small little innovation. There's a video on that. We've already done a video on the bed maker and what it comprises of. So today we're planning out on planting tomatoes. We're doing cheaply, the first 10,000. Our goal is to have it planted by the 1st of August. No deadline, no plan. No by the 1st of August. Our seedlings are ready at our nursery. And so we're just going through the paces. What you're going to do today is just make my beds. And then we'll have a team that just comes following up. We're just gathering up that star grass and shamba grass type, and then topisa to just make sure that it's with pressure when our tomatoes start growing. So we've done an initial cleanup, and this is our second cleanup. So that we have less weeds to deal with when it comes to the time of working. So here we are, just making beds. Our drip was put in Mumundani Zuro. We've brought in our drip system. So immediately after doing my beds, we then get on to connecting my drip lines. We apply fungicide to deal with fusarium wilt, and then from there we get to planting. Immediately after planting or at planting, compound we're going to be using IC 92420, I think. That's the IC that we're going to be using as our compound. And then in terms of the foundation, our basal application, we're going to do that compound. We're also going to add gypsum. We're putting 16 grams per plant. Gypsum is calcium sulfate. The sulfur aspect helps in nutrient absorption, and then the calcium aspect will also help in terms of shelf life and quality of our tomatoes. Cell building up, my cells another calcium yakawanda. So we're going to add that as our foundation before planting. So it's gypsum, 16 grams per station, and then compound 30 grams per station. This is just for cheaply, my indeterminate, so you don't want to put in too much compound. They're just going to breeze through it. And then after this, compound, the first fungicide that we're going to apply is most likely going to be Ridomil. A drench Ridomil. And then as a base also Chesa Plesiva Star to just do Nema pace. So this is what the bed is looking like initially. We're going to have a team that's going to come up after this. Will clean up, and then there's some areas and then they'll just level up. The beds are 1.2 meters wide, so which means we get about 10 centimeters off each end. Tomatoes. The 10 centimeter, we're going to do 2 lines of tomatoes on each bed, and then shadi with the net drip. The reason for raising my beds is to just allow drip water to just seep through Zhakanaka, and to just give a firm foundation. Somewhere a good base for our tomatoes. A good rooting base for our tomatoes, so to speak. So that's what they're looking like initially. We'll straighten them and then level them up and then clean up. And then after that, we get to planting. So yeah, it's exciting. We getting into our next phase. They could be straighter. I hope they will be much straighter than this as he progresses. So that we have a nice, clean look on the field. Thank you. So the whole field is about a hectare. A third of it took some tomatoes, and then the other part of it yanga ine chibage before, but I think I see munda uri empty like this, so we're just going to do a repeat of chibage. We're going to do green mealies on the rest of the field, so it's going to be 2/3 of a hectare. That's going to be filled up with green mealies. We've already planted a hectare, that's germinating. We've got another third of a hectare that's down there, that is also germinating. So as it stands, we'll then have that means this part will then make up the second hectare to make 2 hectares of green mealies in the immediate. We hope to be planting green mealies every month, at least a hectare or 2 every 4 to 6 weeks. And as we're going through our cabbage journey, we've also realized that we've got a few problems along the way. No farming operation is perfect, and we've encountered a few problems, and we'd like to share some of those problems with our farmers so that they also get to understand and know the journey is not always going to be as smooth as you'd expect it to be. So the first problem that we've had is an uneven crop, as you can see in the image. Crop are uneven, and that affects your cutout percentage. There are some portions of the crop that are uneven as we're going, and the reason why there's that unevenness is because of water logging. First of all, there's water logging in the field. So as we're watering, we're using overhead irrigation, and then some portions are with water logging, parku diba. The reason why parku diba is because the field was not leveled properly. So mama depression, and in those depressions you find that there's a lot of water logging that's happening. That water logging is causing a lot of nutrient losses, and because of poor nutrition for those cabbages, they're now lagging behind. We've added a bit of fertilizer, a bit of nitrogen, a bit of compound to try and bolster the crop and give it a bit more energy, but we're still struggling a bit, and that's causing unevenness. The second thing that's causing unevenness is a fusarium wilt, which we've also encountered on the crop. Here my cabbages edu. That wilt has caused some losses along the way. And they die off. We've solved that problem by drenching Chemalaxyl, which is basically Ridomil, or a Mancozeb Metalaxyl combination. That is what we've drenched in to try and solve that problem. Fusarium wilt. That is the second thing. The third thing is we've also got sucking pests and grasshoppers. They've chopped off a few cabbages here and there. That is also causing losses in the cabbage field. And then the third thing is multiple heads. That is the third or fourth problem that we've encountered. Multiple heads on our cabbages. So cabbage paru kura panoita masakas roita ngiraita maheads akawanda. And when you then have multiple heads, the problem is that they do not form the large size heads that you want. It compromises your head size, and it compromises your yield in the process. Those are the 3 or 4 major problems that we've encountered so far that are causing our crop to be uneven. As you can see, there is the ideal, what we would want, what we would expect the crop to look like when it's at its most ideal. But the challenge is I hope, either before you plant or even as you're going through your crop, and if you're going through the same challenges, you also get a chance to then deal with them and just make sure you even out your crop earlier than we have, because you'd get better results if all those problems are dealt with a bit earlier. We've learned to apply the fungicide as soon as we plant, as a means to just make sure we don't have a problem. Fungal diseases and the like. If you're doing tomatoes and anything that requires nematodes, to apply methyl sodium is also a good idea, because it also deals with bacterial infections and a lot of other diseases in the soil as a fumigant. And we're now considering going through that as well. So yeah, here we are. That's our cabbage crop so far. We're actually happy with the growth rate. The growth rate is very good. It's just that unevenness that has created a few problems for us, and we hope to then solve those problems and see the crop through, and hopefully get a cutout percentage that is at least above 70%. Thank you. So as I was saying, this is the ideal. This is what it should look like. This is the goal. If the whole field looked like this, we'd be extremely happy. But again, we're very happy with our growth progress. Some of them look like they're starting to shape up for my heads, and looks like we're not too far away from harvest. But we've got portions that look like this. This is the unevenness that we're talking about, and we've tried to rectify that by adding a bit of compound. There's a bit of a depression here, and for that reason there's water logging on that part. And aningari reason that's why we're also making beds for tomatoes, just to try and even out the piece of land. And we're going to do those beds for all crops moving forward. I think it helps just make sure we don't have struggles with unevenness in the field. So that bed maker will be very handy in making sure we've got evenness.